Oh my god, welcome back. It's part 3 of daily number 649. Everyone has literally learned to be a better gamer today. We're 20 minutes into a game, we got 10 minutes left, and it's at a weird spot. We're looking at this sort of, wow, the Taran who's got up all the barracks that he'd ever want and need. Ooh, even some missed rallies, I didn't see that. Oh, that's embarrassing. But already has 3-3 and is getting the building armor and the high-sec auto-tracking upgrades. His third, our Taran buddy, Polt, is looking to be running a little dry. Zerg is quite cleverly delaying his hive tech, flooding with yet more and more and more lings, and it's looking a little grim. We're going to see how Polt plays this off in this rather awkward scenario, how Byul tries to continue to secure more and more bases, and of course we're seeing that Polt likes to do the double medevac hit squads where he can just dart down with some forces and pick something up and jettison out if he needs to. But again, the banelings and the burrow is what permits us to be more aggressive. You can see Byul selecting it. He's kind of bummed out. Oh, there's the scan. If we get a little bit better, a little tighter at that placement, obviously going to have big benefits. So Polt, oops, something that doesn't make sense until we sort of step forward. We saw, no, go back farther. Sorry, I'm having trouble snaring the replay. Normally, we have expansions that go down at very particular times, and we just have the one command center. Polt mitigates this by just continuing to build more command centers. He just built another one. Where is it? There it is. We have one here that generally will be a planetary fortress unless Polt feels comfortable enough with his economy. But Polt just adds on a big flood of command centers in this mid-period. Because when something like this happens, where he winds up losing his expansion, or I guess in a little bit, Polt more or less has a secured base. We're back at just before this expo died. Here it does die. And here 3-3 is done. This command center isn't a new build queue. It's just another command center. And underneath its lift-off land, Polt builds another command center. So this allows Polt to be pretty rapid and aggressive about continually repopulating a fourth base. Getting to 3 bases is really no sweat for a Taran. Getting the 4th base is a big pain in the buns. So rather than just try to be amazing at keeping it alive the first time, every time, Polt just sort of says, alright, yeah, it's going to get killed. So yeah, look, there's another command center going down for Polt. He pushes this side, and amazingly quickly, another command center lands. So we're already seeing that Polt is kind of slowly sweeping up, went up to apply pressure to this base, but gets just amazing scans. Or, no, excuse me. He does this amazing move that is surprisingly consistent. Everything Polt does is essentially clear out vision, sweep for vulnerable extremities, like watchtowers or the bottom right expansion, and then pick a spot and drill. There's not cutesy drops or anything like that. There's not this and that, and then we do these little steps. We have to adjust for this little subtle thing. Polt's just like, alright, sweep for vision, kill creep. Oh, by sweep for vision, I mean sweep and remove Zerg's vision. Look at Polt's vision. Oops. Look at Polt's vision. He's sort of moved up here. He's got a dude there, and then he just sort of sweeps down here. Same at the bottom. Moves down here, kills the extremities, and sweeps up. And then he'll probably pull back and just begin drilling away. Now we contrast this with Zerg's vision. Zerg is about to lose this. Has this expansion here. He just has these burrowed banelings here. The Zerg's vision is way locked back. So sort of on a dime, Polt's able to snatch everything up. So obviously sweeping for vision yields battles, but the initial goal for Polt is still very apparent. Sweep for vision, sweep for vision, sweep for vision, sweep for vision. Polt continues to suffer from these obnoxious groundlings. And this is where I start to be like, getting too many mutas is a little, Still, like, right around 30, I'm there with you. I like it. But getting a little too high on the muta counts can be a little, It will permit Byul to begin to actually do these direct attacks at the front. The bunkers, Polt does not almost ever salvage. He always leaves these bunkers up here. Byul with this expansion. The one thing that is lacking here is creep spread up into this region. And I'm not talking about, a whole lot of queens spreading creep. I just mean overlords gooping this up so that this creep wall can just waltz itself there. And then this expansion is effectively defended from all angles except this one, which is pretty easy to cover for because it has a watchtower. Controlling space. That's what it's all about. So it's this odd late game thing that I was talking about, where as it gets late into the game, this is where we see more Mutalists from Byul, up from 20, closer to 30. This poor little abandoned expansion is so far gone. We see, the spine crawlers are coming up, but I think that this is just a little tiny thing that winds up hurting real bad. So great. Moving things along. So long as we see a deny of this fourth base again and again, Byul should, for the most part, be fine. But Polt is pretty relentless about building those command centers again and again and again. Has this extra one and is actually going to land it here. Before I go into that, Polt is going to do the same thing. Well, if he's ever in a weird spot, can never be bad to sweep for vision, clear vision out. Hey, Ultraless Cavern from Byul. Why? Because, well, we have 5 geysers, so that's good. We've been spending all our gas exploiting the openness of the map and the distance of the bases, but now that it looks more like we actually need to track down and kill that army, let's get some Ultras in there. So I'm not the hugest fan of just waltzing up to the top side unless there's a big attack, and that's why it just gets shut down, like so easily. This attack down on this side didn't really coordinate well with that, but Polt's starting to carve up more vision. Byul is doing the same thing. Wherever he sees an army, he moves to where the army is not to grab vision. And does the most epic large-scale harassment ever. Why can Byul do these kinds of plays? Because he has spines to control chokes and burrow. But I just wish there were spines here and spines more like here. This is a little bit held far back. Go Byul. Byul, Byul. So if these, the spines here for Byul kind of have to do this ring, because they also have to defend Marines coming up and in. But if there was just a line of like 5, I mean the drone count's still like high, it's at 70. The gist of what Byul's doing is kick ass. He can just kill the expansion by right clicking on it and sweeping in on this side. At least he could have. More cleanly. Kill it. I mean, I know he wound up killing it, but still, that battle hurts my soul every time. So we start to see the Mutalists being very nice, picking things off. We talked about that early on. We're seeing it happen in the moment. But again, just the slightly off positioning. Spine crawlers, Spine crawlers we talked about were weak when a lot of units could attack them all at once. They're strong in late game because the Taran tends to pre-split up all his things. Better placement here and having some more stuff there, and just a little bit of burrow being able to actually nail that. could have been great. But Polt now is just doing a very smart move. This kind of appears to be the, well, I'm screwed, so I'm just going to attack with everything, but he doesn't have other points to defend down in the bottom side. And attacking this you know, clear important base is an easy choice. So this is just more normal pushing of the closest thing. But I personally would still like to see Polt shoot for this base. And then eventually this one, if he's going to be drilling this side so hard. But Polt's very smart about the sort of positioning that he wants to have. He's already broken this important location. And this is way back the original plan that we talked about. If he shoves along this, he can rally here and establish, and then just pull out and down. And then he'll have secured his extra base. Taran obviously doesn't really need gas very much in late game, as you can see. But it does need lots of minerals. Zerg, on the other hand, just kind of always wants to have lots of gas. We do see a lot of gas up in the bank, but Byul never really had the opportunity to spend it, even though he was about to begin to spend it. So this, I think, is really cool from Polt. He just sort of chills at the threat point. He doesn't come all the way back. I mean, he is establishing control down here with mines and everything else, but just sort of chills. Sweeps for vision. As he begins to get vision. Yeah. Remember that command center I was talking about that I really liked? Yeah. This expansion. You know, it seems to make sense, but this one's a lot stronger. Almost always gonna die. And in a stunning display of coordination, we have an expansion here and an attack here, and we can see clearly how this coordination works. If this retreats, it will defend this more strongly because automatically, by going wherever the army is, this is defended. If the Zerg army was here, this is defended. Since the Zerg army is here and Polt wants to retreat back, he'll retreat back to this location, which is right in between the two bases. He just kind of autopilots and just goes where the army is. And then this is a planetary fortress. Yeah. A kind of awkward angle where he has to sprint up along this top side, but it's easy to do because it's close. I mean, nothing too complicated about the notion of close. And after a super nail-biter series of exchanges, Polt finally manages to secure a fourth base without a lot of cash in the door for Zerg. This drop I'm not going to analyze. I don't like that drop. I think it's bad. And I will give you no further analysis than that. So the next obvious expansion choice is this base for Taran, not this one. That's only kind of like meh. But I do like this chill back to defend with the existing force. The new force that gets made heads down to the bottom side. And we can clearly see how it is difficult in this position for Zerg to attack and defend at the same time, simply by drawing lines to where he's threatening and where the reinforced paths are. And Polt picks himself up a nice win. So, this was the match that allowed Polt to advance on to the final round of 8 against Byul, where they eventually wound up meeting in the grand final. If you want to see some super crazy awesomeness, definitely go to starcraft2.com/WCS and you can see the full best of 7 final. Oh, crap, I closed the game. So if you have any questions about the game, I can't zoom to that point. But let's go ahead and take questions about that. He GG'd right then and there. Yeah, you must see Game 4 of the Grand Final. It was amazing. Tempted to steal all the thunder and just do it on my show and be like, nah, watch me. But no, go to starcraft2.com/WCS and watch it yourself. Question time. Release the hounds. Oh, great question by Drucifer. What are your thoughts on the game 2 that lasted 3 hours today? I'm sort of fine with it. I like it. Seems good. I actually am kind of a fan that that can happen in the game. I mean, the fact that we can wind up with like crazy ultra like cannon rushes or cheeses all the way to 3 hour and 4 minute games. Sort of fine with that. I know a lot of people were like, oh my god, it breaks the game. And I know that there are just general criticisms that people have of like the swarm host, but like a single game doing that doesn't I think it's kind of kick ass, to be frank. I guess I do dislike the fact that that the game can get to the point where interaction just like starts happening and it's unclear where to just go for an edge, but you know, whatever. So Little Big 11 asks a very reasonable question. Day 9, how is this really different from any other TBZ? Taran still went for things that start with M, and Zerg did the typical ling, bane, ling, muta. What makes this game special? I'll go with 3 big things. First and foremost, the openings had a little bit of cute elements from each of them that we talked about. Second, most of the time there's one battlefront. And this is actually the biggest point. There's one battlefront, and the Zerg player pushes back, the Marine player pushes it there, and it sort of goes like this. And then let's say that Taran pushed, and then it just got obliterated. There's like a period of waiting, and then the line just forms again. And I mean, when I say that there's a line, there's a battlefront, it's like what everyone's focused on is just that, and that's it. And that gets kind of dry when there's no new expansions being taken or killed or dynamic decisions being made. What makes this really special is that the game flowed onto different expansions in different places on the map. Excuse me. And Polt had to do very different pushes, not just, well, we're just going to go Marine Mine, Marauder, and attack here. It was a lot of like, okay, I got to split my forces up and sort of allocate stuff to here, and I can't attack that, so let me try to sweep here. Lots of very unusual movement in that. So that's really cool. And the third one that I like a lot is Zerg's mid and late game. Heavy spine, weird timing with his muta, getting to hive and only getting upgrades and getting no overlords and just continuing to expand a lot. Really like that. My neck hurts. Why the green screen? I'm out of town. Probably going to get that question every day. The 2 questions I get every day are when are you going to stream Amnesia and why a green screen? And to that I say go to the website and go to the website. Cut me silly. He says, do you believe the popularity of Marine medevac mine isn't based on how strong it is, but rather the lack of viable builds for Taran due to Vipers making tanks irrelevant? Well, I mean, like, obviously the reason that any person gravitates to any style is because it's the strongest. Really, like, if everyone's doing one thing, it's probably the strongest thing. So to shorten the question, the real question is, are there other options that are not M&M because Vipers kill tanks so much? And I don't have enough data, really. I mean, like, fundamentally, you can say on paper, oh, dude, Vipers own tanks because they abduct them. But I mean, that won't shut down all the time up to Vipers, and you can't just get a whole bunch of Vipers out of the blue. They're very, very expensive. If anyone has answered as to why Day 9 is rendering his background, someone post a link. I literally just said it's because I am out of town. I literally just said that. Alright. What are we talking about? I figuratively just said that. Literally. Alright, we're talking about why we don't see more tanks. I think the problem is that a lot of Taran players have not explored. Now I'm answering the question as to why we don't see mech. I guess I'll just say the reason we don't see a lot of mech is simply that people have not figured out good ways to apply pressure in mid-game. But I'm very excited by the Mario mech. Very, very mine-heavy, aggressive pushing. Before Zerg can really get that many Vipers. And I mean, if you do things like siege 15 tanks clustered, then yeah, a couple blinding clouds are going to take you out, but... yeah, I mean, I have seen Mario Mech go up against Vipers, and then he like pulls the Vipers, and it doesn't matter because there's a ton of mines there. I think that mines are really the key to going Mech. Mines are just the greatest unit in the game. For any of you who don't know what Mario Mech is, just Google Mario Mech. I did a show on it. Let's take one more question. Will I be at WCS on Saturday? Yes, I will be at the WCS Grand Finals in Toronto, Canada. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And hence why there are no dailies for a week now. So I'm going to go. You're all wonderful. Have a great week and great weekend and tune in and be awesome.